at Polaris Razor. Your life demands a tire that provides durability, comfort, and performance, and that's what General Tire delivers for you. From the all-season grip of the Grabber UHP to the comfort and on-road manners of the Grabber HTS to the durability and off-road traction of the Grabber AT2, General has a tire that will help get you where you need to go. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible, because with General Tire, anywhere is possible. When looking for a new wheel for your off-road vehicle, car, truck, or UTV, the choice is easy. You choose what the pros use. Rob McCachran, Keegan Kincaid, and myself, Jim Beaver, all exclusively use Vision Wheel, whether we're dominating Baja, taking the cup at Crandon, or shredding UTVs. Vision Wheel's trend-setting designs and durability will set you apart from the competition and your friends. Check out visionwheel.com or at Vision Wheel on social media to learn more. Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle and Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount.
Life is all about sound, the sound of sports, the sound at the racetrack, and the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
Like what you hear? Catch all the back episodes of the Down and Dirty Radio Show on Apple Podcast, and be sure to rate, review, and subscribe.
Welcome back to the General Tire Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. I'd like to welcome my good friend and Polaris Razor teammate, Miss Kristen Matlock, to the show. Kristen, I know we were just talking off air, but it's been a bit since I guess, had you on the show. We've even caught up like in person. It's been a while, so stoked to have you back.
Yeah, it's great to be back. I know it's been a good year, I think, with COVID involved, and just everything's been a little bit different. So good to be here for sure.
Yeah, I know last year kind of would definitely threw our little industry in a bit of a tailspin, but I guess the bigger story is this. I hate to say this off season because you didn't have an off season, but you headed over to the Dakar Rally. We got to talk about that before we even talk about what happened in San Felipe, because you got to go to Dakar, race the biggest, baddest off-road race on the planet. I mean, tell me about that experience, because that had to just been life-changing.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm still smiling ear to ear right now, just thinking about it. It was such an experience. I'd like to say, it was an experience of a lifetime, but it sounds like we may be going back next year as well. So it's going to continue on for us. I'm super stoked for that, for sure. But yeah, it was, Saudi Arabia was an amazing place. I was actually hesitant and a little bit apprehensive going over there, especially as a female. I've just heard some stories, and I was absolutely thrilled to find out that they were so welcoming and very, very friendly over there. They would stop literally in the middle of the street to say, "Welcome to our country," and just greet us. It was great.
And it's interesting because I know we've heard a lot about Saudi Arabia recently, and I know, it truly feels like the Saudi Arabia now versus the Saudi Arabia, say even 10, 20 years ago, is completely different. And everybody I've talked to that's gone over there is had the same apprehensions you've had, but they've come back saying, man, that was an amazing experience. These people are so happy to have us there, and I feel like they're so happy to have kind of the doors open to their country and be able to, really interact with the world like they haven't been able to in the past. Absolutely, yeah. It was in 2018 that they started allowing women to drive over there, and then I think it was around the same time that they started accepting tourist visas. So everything's changed within the last
couple of years is all. And you can really tell that things are definitely turning around for them, and they're becoming more modernized for sure.
Yeah. Well, kind of compare things. I mean, obviously Dakar didn't fully go the way that you wanted it to, but you still were able to take in the entire experience. I mean, compare that. I mean, because a lot of people here, in the States, the biggest thing that we can compare it to is the Baja 1000. And really it's a complete different animal. I mean, this is like doing 2 weeks worth of, say, Baja 500s or San Felipe 250s, in a row. I mean, how was that? I mean, obviously you kind of, you kind of trained for this, but, did you really know what to expect until you got in there? I mean, is there anything you can compare it to that you've done in the past?
It's really hard to compare it to anything other than, like you said, either like a San Felipe 250 or even up to a 500, depending on the day. You're doing that on a daily basis for 12 days in a row because it's a total of 5,000 miles. So you're waking up every morning, early in the morning, and you have to drive to the location where you're going to start in the morning first off, which I wasn't expecting that. I thought you just wake up in the morning in the bivouac or the camp and you're just there at the starting line. But a lot of times we would have to drive for hours just to get to where we're going to start the race that day. And then the worst part, my least favorite part, I should say, is when you're done racing, which is usually at dark, you have to drive up to about 150 miles afterwards to camp where you're going to stay that night. So, and all you want to do at that point is just get a shower and food and just be done for the day. But nope, there's still more. So it was tough. It was definitely a test of everything, I would say, not just physical, but emotional. And, it was never, I would say, easy. I mean, there's always something to think about, something to prep for, something to do, and it was really hard to catch a break, especially after, like you said, on day 2 is when I had my mishap and flew off of the backside of a dune that I never even saw, and neither did my co-driver, and did some damage to the car. And it took us all day and through the night to complete that day. And when we finished, we had less than 3 hours till we had to start the next day, which would be day 3 for us. So from that moment forward, it was tough. It was hard to catch back up on our sleep and everything else, because of that for sure. But very grateful that they had the experience class in the years past. This was only the second year that they gave anyone that option. Normally you would just be done with the rally. And if that happened on just the second day, I would have been absolutely devastated like others have been in the years past.
Yeah. Well, and I've talked to, some Americans that have gone over there and raced, and I know Ryan Arciero has said this quite a bit, and he goes, Dakar's a different thing. He goes, it's not like, you're an amazing off-road racer just coming off a big win in Baja. It's like Kristen Matlock decides she wants to go do a new off-road race here in the States that you've never done before. Like, you go in and hey, I got a really good shot at winning this thing. And Ryan said Dakar's the weird thing where he goes, you've got to go, and he goes, you've got to get a year under your belt really just to experience and see how it operates and how it runs before you truly can be competitive. He goes, I don't know that there's anybody, and obviously there's a few elite level talents in the unlimited car division and stuff like that have gone in and been successful their first year. But he goes, it's really something that most off-road drivers need to go and experience and just take it all in and see how it runs and how it operates and what it takes to get to the finish before you can really, the second year, come in and go, hey, I got a real good shot at winning this thing.
Yes, I completely agree. Year 1, you're lucky to just finish. And that's why we talked to a lot of teams that have been doing it for many years. And they said that it usually takes 3 and 4 years just to get a finish. So with both, with Wayne finishing, he finished 12th, and he was the top Polaris Razor driver to finish. I thought that was amazing. I was very proud of him to do that. And then with me being able to finish the experience class too and still get all of the miles or kilometers over there, that was exciting as well. So just getting to that point and getting all of the experience and learning new knowledge that we need to take into the years to come, I think is is just phenomenal. It was Polaris RZR's first year being over there too with an American team, and so we were all over there just kind of learning as we go. We kind of rushed into it a little bit, so to say, just because I say that because most teams will start prepping a year in advance. So the second that they return from Dakar, they're planning and prepping for the next year, where we had kind of decided in the beginning of the year that it was something that we were interested in and didn't start really building cars till mid-year. So we accomplished the prep and building and shipping of all the parts and supplies that we would need. All the logistics of it is huge. And being able to do that in a 6-month period of time versus the normal year's period of time was pretty impressive, really, for our team to be able to do so.
So coming off Dakar, obviously you guys get back stateside, and I know you didn't do King of the Hammers this year. You guys were just kind of returning home, but looking forward, we've got the San Felipe 250 that just happened. You guys show up there. I know Wayne's got something a little special in the back pocket maybe for later this year that we won't talk about. But Kristen comes in, and you ended up walking away with a victory right out of the box. It's got to have you feeling pretty good. How was San Felipe this year? I know Mexico's had their own challenges, in regards to the pandemic and things, but it seems like things are, kind of starting to turn around down there as well.
Yeah, for sure. We only had a 2-race season last year as opposed to a 4-race series in score. So definitely we're missing. San Felipe was one of them that we weren't able to race because of COVID being the first race of the season. It was great to be back. The Baja 500 last year was in San Felipe, though, so they just made a 500-mile course down there, which was tough. As you know, it's a whooped-out, rocky location down there. So, but this year was no different. We actually pre-ran all week long, and it was one of the best courses that they've ever laid out until those trophy truck guys ran through there and just stirred up all of the rocks that were hidden underneath the soft sand. So I told them at the finish line that it felt like I was just dodging bullets all day long, with those big rocks out there. But luckily I didn't get a single flat. I was able to do well at dodging them and made it all the way to the finish line without any issue, other than I did have some clutch issues throughout the day. It was a kind of a reminder about tightening up the primary clutch bolt. I'm sure you've heard all about that, and you know all about that yourself, being a RZR driver. But yeah, we had it torqued to spec, and then you're supposed to go out there and rerun it, and retorque it. And we failed to do so, and therefore my primary clutch bolt came loose, and that started about mile 60. And blew a couple belts, and then finally the primary itself crumbled on me and had to replace that. So, but yeah, we got back out there and we're still able to pull off a win. So I was very fortunate to not have anybody pass me with all the stops that we had to make along the way.
Yeah, well, and
but that did take me out of the overall for sure.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, I think that, that's one thing with you, and I think we've all seen, that what you've been able to accomplish down there in Baja, and you're like Miss Consistency, and you are so consistent where you have every other driver seems like there's these peaks and valleys, and things like that. I feel like you're just so consistent, and you're always, you're always there at the finish. You're always, in the hunt, and I think that's one of the things that I really find remarkable is where every other driver, they can get caught up in things, and like I said, there's these peaks and valleys. Like Kristen, you're just so like always there,
Thank you. Yeah, I definitely have our mechanic Daniel Felix that works full time for us, just prepping both of our vehicles throughout the year. Definitely have to thank him for that, because without a well-prepped vehicle, then you're just not even going to make it to the finish line. And then, I would just say, just keep moving. That's key. You've got to get to the finish line in order to land on the podium. So I always just make sure that I pace myself in the very beginning of the race and not push too hard to where we're going to break the vehicle. Because like I've said in the past, for me, coming from quad racing, it's no longer a matter of